stamping friends. It's Sherry Parker coming to you live on Sunday, July 21st. This is unusual for me to sign on a Sunday, so I'm not sure if anyone is available at this time. I'm traveling for work this week, so I wanted to hop on and show you a fun technique since I won't be available on Wednesday night. Hopefully this time works out for people. If not, watch it on replay because I think you're gonna really like this technique. So, hey, Becky. Well, good, I'm glad. I wasn't really sure. Sundays I know sometimes are family days, so I'm not sure if this is a great time for people, but this is a really cool, quick technique I wanted to show everyone, and I hope that you can use it in your projects. So, before we get started, I will just mention a couple quick things. That Stampin' Up! Announced yesterday that free shipping will take place on this Tuesday, July 23rd, which is great. It's for orders of $75 or more. But if you think about the other things going on right now, for example, the bonus days, so for every $50 you spend, you get $5 coupon to use in August. So if you pair it with that, and then in addition to that, I'm having my kit together. It's August 7th, but you need to order the kits online before July 27th. So if you waited to the 23rd and did that, and you spent $75, not only would you get free shipping, but you also get a $5 off coupon or more, depending on how much you ordered to use in August, and you get your kit to bring to my kit together. So it's a really kind of a great thing. So Tuesday is going to be a great day to join us and place an order. Hey Ruth, thanks for joining. Appreciate it. So I wanted to just mention those quick things, and then I'll turn the camera over and get started on a really cool technique. So I received a card in the mail maybe 1 to 2 years ago from my friend Tammy Fight. She's also in my downline. She lives in Albuquerque. And I really, really love this card, and I saved it because I thought, I need to do this. It utilizes paper scraps, which I know we all have. You get these beautiful designer series papers, you use them, but then you end up, at least I don't like to throw the little scraps away because they're so pretty, and surely I can make something. So I decided to focus on that tonight, and we're going to use the Zinnia, the Simply Zinnia bundle, and then also the Flowering Zinnia designer series paper. So I'm going to turn the camera over and we'll get started. All right, hopefully you can see this okay. Put my glasses on. So the cards we're going to make tonight, basically the same idea, but just slightly different variation. So this one here, which again, like I said, uses this designer series paper, more in a strip, and then another example where you're using more of a shape. And I'm calling this the Criss Cross. I don't really know what the formal name of this technique is, so if you know, put it in the comments, because I would like to know the real name of it. I'm calling it Criss Cross, but I don't know that that's really the name of it. So, and as always, if you share or comment on my videos, your name will automatically be entered in to draw one or to win one of the sample projects that I make each week. So had a couple winners last week. I hope maybe you'll be one of this week's winners. And so anyway, that'd be awesome. And then I also wanted to point out too that my website is sherrythomas.stampinup.net. The host code for that kit together that I was mentioning earlier is this right here. So if that is something that interests you and you would place an order, use that host code if your order is less than $150, and then it'll all go towards that kit together. And if it's more than $150, then you can be your own host and of course reap all the benefits there. If you have any questions on that, obviously please reach out to me. Well, we'll go ahead and get started on these fun cards, and starting with this one right here. And some of you may have done this before, I don't know, but it's something that I've seen a lot of really cool examples, but I've never really done it before. So for this first card, all we're doing is simply taking a strip of cardstock. So this is 2 inches by 5.5, okay? And all I'm gonna do is literally take scraps of designer series paper and glue them on here. And I'll show you what I mean. So the designer series paper, the Simply, or I think it's Flowering Zinnias is what it's called, comes in all these beautiful patterns. Here's my pack of paper. You can see I've got just all these like little scraps and everything. And so that's the goal of today, is just take all these little scraps, use them. So I've cut these strips, all the different patterns, and they're 1/2 inch by just whatever. I think these might be 3 inches, just based on how big of an area that you're covering. And then I'm just going to simply kind of zigzag them, and I'll show you what I mean in just a minute. So one really important thing to mention is the surface that you're working on, because you're using glue, most likely, this silicone mat is a great surface to work on for this type of project. If you're using tape, maybe this wouldn't be an issue, but with glue, I feel like it's really a pretty good idea to use the silicone mat. So what I'm gonna do is I've got the patterns laid out over here, so front and back. So with this particular pack, there's more of like a little pattern on one side of all the papers, and then more of like a flower, more picturesque scene on the other side. So I'm alternating. So I'm going to start with going one direction, and I'm going to use more of the patterns. And I'm going to just first put a little line of glue here, and all I'm doing is just angling these like so, and put a little thing of glue. And again, I'm using just the patterns, and you want to make them kind of parallel. Again, this is not an exact science, so don't stress about it. And I'll do another angle. My angles aren't very straight, as you can see, but that's okay. And the nice thing about glue is you can kind of reposition things if you need to. So, and then here's another one where it's just kind of the back of the paper, and then another one with this purple. This paper I fell in love with instantly when I saw it. It's so, so pretty. And then I'll put another little stripe here. So all I've done is just glue pieces of this designer series paper. And now what I'll do is go back, going the other direction. Look, I already jostled that one around, so I'm gonna just kind of like scooch it there. Okay. And I will go the opposite direction with the more floral looking pieces. And I'm gonna start kind of going that direction. And on these, I'm putting the glue on the paper like this. Well, hello, Miss Kathy. So glad you could join. And again, if any of you know the name of this technique, please put it in the chat, because I was putting this together and I'm thinking, I even looked on Pinterest and thought, what is crisscross? And nothing that I was coming up with looked like this. So I don't know. Maybe there's a name. I just don't know the name of it. So anyway. All right. So we're just, again, alternating our little papers, going zigzag and crisscrossing. So that's why I'm calling it crisscross, even though that's probably not the real name. So you can see how all I've done is just tape or glue these papers, and it looks like a mess, right? So that is basically the background. So I would let that dry for just a minute. So I'm gonna set that one aside. I did do one ahead of time, so you wouldn't have to watch the glue dry. But again, it looks messy. You're using scraps. But now what I'm gonna do is turn it over and just trim behind. And you'll see all the little pieces fall. That's what they're supposed to do. So if you let it dry, it'll help. Otherwise, they might stick to your scissors, which nobody wants that. And I would not use like your good ribbon cutting scissors for something like this. But see what you end up with? Isn't that cool looking? So now, just to make the card, I'm going to use this kind of as my background focal point. I've got some cardstock here. I've got an 8.5 by 11 sheet of white, Whisper White. And then I have some Lemon Lolly and some Lemon Lime Twist. So I'm just going to layer those to that. And move that over just a second. And then we'll put our card together. So using the Stamp and Seal, again, you can use tape or glue, whatever you like to use. And I like the Stamp and Seal. I like tape runners and tape, but for like the little pieces, I definitely would recommend using, glue, because there are little scraps and little pieces that you might need to reposition. So there you go. Now I did notice, obviously this seems to be pretty common with me. When I'm cutting, these are not quite the same length, so I'm just going to quickly trim off the extra. So there's the background of my card like that, and I'm gonna go ahead and adhere it to my card front. And I put it on the left side like that. So there's our card base. And then for the focal point, I'm using the Simply Zinnia bundle, which this coordinates with that same designer series paper, and it has some really pretty stamps and then great die cuts. Some of the die cuts actually will cut out these images here, and then there's some others that are more just, you can use them standalone. So today we're gonna go ahead and use the standalones. I'm gonna use my silicone mat again, and got a hair in there. It's probably from my dog because she is right here. Seems to be the story of my life. But this die cut set there's 2 little flower images that when you stack them, they make a real pretty full zinnia leaves, and then the center and all kinds of fun shapes. So I'm gonna put my zinnia together using glue. And so the skinnier ones I would put on top, and with this particular one, there's a little space, it looks like a V there, and that's my little cheat sheet where that smallest petal will overlay. And then when you do that, a little dot of glue there, you'll get a nice full little zinnia. And to make the center, I've got some pumpkin pie cardstock here. We'll go ahead and put that in the middle, and then using the Daffodil Delight, has this little ring here that goes right over the center like that. And so I will go ahead and adhere this to my card. I'm going to use Stampin' Dimensionals. Put one there, and I will position it about here. And then for the leaves, I did go ahead and cut out the leaf shape. I'm using Old Olive, and all I'm gonna do is just put a little dab of glue there, tuck it behind on either side, and get my dimensional thing. Voila. Last but not least, the greeting. I am using a different die cut set for this. This is the Unbounded Love, if you're familiar with this. This is a great, it's newer this year, die cut set that has some really cool shapes for your greetings or really any accent on your cards or projects. So I love these 2 together. So I'm going to actually use those for the greeting there. And I'm using Thanks So Much. Oh, hey, Joyce. Thank you. I love these colors. They're so summery. And I got inspired by, I take my dog on a walk every day, and my neighbor has the most beautiful hot pink zinnias. I'm like, I am going to pull that out again. I love the zinnias. So one of the greetings that comes with that stamp set is thank you so much. So I'm using my Mellow Mambo ink pad to stamp that. And I did go ahead and cut this out. This is that lemon lime twist. Love this color. And I'll use a little dab of glue on that. And I'll put that, I've got ink on my fingers, and that's never great, is it? And then we'll go ahead and adhere this to the card with dimensionals. Super easy. And there you go. So card number 1 done. Super quick, and use your scraps. So the second card, I'm doing basically the same thing. So I know this may not seem too different, but it is a little bit different. And then I'm doing that same crisscross pattern, and I'm using a bigger background piece. So this is slightly smaller than like a quarter sheet of cardstock. So, oh, thanks, Becky. So but I'm doing the same technique. So these, again, are 1/2-inch strips. They're a little bit longer, and I just did that same zigzag across there. But for this one, I'm going to pull out my embossing machine, and I'll show you a really cool idea. Using the Countryside Corners dies, you might have seen these in the catalog. They're not new, but they're really great shapes. And one of my favorite uses of this particular die cut set is the O for Ohio State. If you're a Buckeye, then you might be interested in that, but you can make the O for Ohio State using this die cut set, so it's really cool. So what I'm going to do for this particular one is I let this dry, so you can see it's still kind of a mess. And I'll put this on my die cut machine, and using one of the dies from that Countryside Corners, I'll place this right over top and then cut it out. So, you know, it just shows you can do this where you're cutting from behind like we did on the strip, or you can go ahead and glue everything and then die cut it out. And then it can be the shape that you want. So the finished result is that. So isn't that fun? So it cuts out real easily. Hey, Tasha, great to see you. So just another way of using the same paper technique. And I love the look of the die cuts too. So to make this card, it's really the same basic concept. So I did cut out this one with that O. I call it an O, even though it's not really an O. And then I cut the slightly larger one, and I'm going to layer it on there. So super easy. Just like that. A lot of patterns. I know people might be like, oh, it's a lot of patterns. Yes, I know. But they all coordinate. That's what's so wonderful about our designer series paper. And here's even another pattern. Thanks, Ruth. Yeah, I know. I just love these colors. So, but again, I'm using one of the designer series paper pieces. This is cut to 5 1/4 by 4. And I will just go ahead and put that on my card base like this. So it's a lot of patterns, but you know, Stampin' Up! Is really great at making things coordinate. So this is just another example. Even though there's a lot of patterns, they all coordinate and look really nice together. So I will adhere this to the card front like that. And then again, I'm going to use the same zinnias. I went ahead and put him together. Same as our first card, this one. And I put some dimensionals on it. So I'm going to kind of position it a little bit to the left. And then the greeting, same thing. Use dimensionals. And then pop that out like that. And then the leaf, I did this one in Lemon Lime Twist versus Old Olive on that one. I got a little pink smudge on there. And I will tuck this one behind. A little dab of glue. Just kind of tuck it underneath there. Just like that. So there you go. I'm calling it Criss Cross Technique. If you know of a better name, and I don't know, I can't see all the comments, but if you happen to know, tell me, because I want to call it by the proper name, but this is all I could think of. I mean, I was thinking of like weaving, but they're not really intertwining like if it was woven, so I'm just calling it crisscross. But that's really it for tonight. And I did want to show you, so again, any designer series paper would work. I used the Frame and Flowers designer series paper and did the same thing. The cool thing with this particular designer series paper is that there are die cuts already done for you, so I didn't have to die cut anything out. I simply punched those out and put those in the front of the card. And then I used that same die cut, the Unbounded Love, that I used for the thanks so much, and created the greeting So that's it. I appreciate you joining me on a Sunday night. I know it's not the normal time I would come on, but I will miss you on Wednesday night. I won't be around, but I do look forward to talking to you soon. I know some of you are in our downline and you're coming to our meeting next Sunday, so I look forward to seeing you there. And those of you that are not part of my group, I hope to see you soon, maybe at the Kit Together in August, and stay in touch. And thank you so much. Have a wonderful week, and thank you so much for joining. Please comment or share, and maybe one of these cards will be yours. Take care. Bye-bye.